Hey guys, so today I want to go through my close reading and annotating unit, or it's more of a mini unit with you guys. It's like a 4 or 5 day lesson plan. And I always liked to do this at the beginning of every school year and really get students kind of refreshed on their close reading skills and also make sure that they weren't freaking out about those close reading skills. So what I want to do is I want to go through the different lessons that are incorporated with this mini unit and share with you guys what I do. So day one is kind of broken up into 2 parts. And each lesson or each day is, I would give it like 55 to 60 minutes. And you can shorten it or lengthen it based on the needs of your classroom. So the first lesson that I always do is we do a close reading of a photograph. And the reason that I do this is so that students feel that they can contribute to the conversation and not feel like they're being like left out if their reading skills aren't as high as their peers, that sort of thing. So basically what I do is without giving much of any kind of prompting, I break the kids up into a few different groups depending on the class size. And I give each group a photo. So for day one, I have included some really fun photographs. So you give each student, or you give each group a different photograph. They're nothing crazy, but most of them are like historical photos from National Geographic. And they're fun. And basically what you have students do is you ask them to discuss and write down, what do you notice about the photo? And that's all the prompting that you give them. And I usually put on like a giant Post-it and I glue it on and then they can write all over it. So let them do that for like 10 minutes and just walk around and kind of see where the conversation is going. And then bring the students back. And basically what you do is you ask them, all right, so what did you notice? What kind of skills did you use? What kind of marks did you make on the paper? What did you feel? Those sort of things. And then you kind of bring it back to students, be like, you're naturally close reading. Those are what those are called. Those are close reading skills. So together with your class, you go through and talk about those skills. And then you go back and do it again. This time emphasizing students, okay, now using those skills that you guys were talking about, go back through and do it with another photo. So have them swap, give them a new sheet of paper to write on, and then have them go through, annotate again. But this time really be prompting them. And the lesson plan includes the questions that you can be asking students. So it's like, what are you noticing? What's happening? What is the setting of this photo? Why is it important? What kind of questions do you have? Think a little bit deeper, look in the background of the photo, those kind of questions. And have students do that again. Again, the whole point is to get every student to buy into the idea of close reading without actually having words in front of them, because oftentimes the term close reading can freak them out. It's an academic term, so it might cause students to feel uncomfortable, but if you make them feel comfortable and show them that they have the ability to close read, then it might not be as daunting to them. And then the last part of the first lesson is, okay, so you've written all over the paper. What are those things called, right? So the official academic term is you are annotating. So it comes with a anchor chart that you can give students. And as a class, you can come up with kind of annotation marks that you would use when students are close reading. And then identifying what is the purpose of annotation. And this little mini unit also comes with an associated PowerPoint, so you can have this stuff projected on the board at the same time that you're having this conversation with students. So this they can keep. What I like to do with their close reading, because it's at the beginning of the year, is I like to take their products, and I like to hang them up on the wall, whether it's in the classroom or out in the hallway, and to show like, hey, this is what I'm able to do. This is a really, really fun activity, and students get really invested. You can use it literally with any photo. It doesn't have to be the ones that are included in the bundle. It can be whatever you want. But I like to use historical photos. I think this one's really funny and cute. There's no real purpose. I mean, who doesn't love this photo, right? Lots of questions. Why is she laughing? Where are they? What is she wearing? Why is she with a camel? All sorts of stuff. And then we have this one. It looks like a very historical photo, and it'll get kids thinking. And then the other photo I've included is this, which also provokes a lot of questions. So it gives students an opportunity, to collaborate, think critically, use skills they already have, but not really even know that they're actually using them. So that's the first lesson. Then we have lesson 2. So the second lesson that we're focusing on is it's a stations activity. And basically the purpose of this is, so there are 4 different stations. So the first station, I'll just walk you through it. So each station comes with a little station plate, so you can just fold it in half so it stands up. So station 1, they're going to be collaborating, and they're going to be brainstorming what it means to close read. And it comes with a brainstorm sheet that students can fill out. And as a group, they want to think about, okay, what kind of skills do I need to have, or should I be working on in order to successfully close read? What are some things that I would typically close read? This always gets students because a lot of them are like, articles, right? But the fun part is they close read all things all the time, right? Think about Instagram captions. Maybe they close read those, or they close read product reviews, emails, whatever it may be. Tools to help them close read. So highlighters, colored pencils, sticky notes, rulers, whatever it may be, they can list those. And then strategies. So that's station 1. Station 2, I have found a couple of school appropriate product reviews that students are going to be close reading. So they're going to think, would they buy this particular product? So they're going to be asked to highlight the text that shows why they would or would not purchase that particular product. And then they're going to be annotating, is it a quality product? Is it a good product review? Why or why not? And then I typically like to have like a little tub or like a little photo case filled with like annotation tools. So highlighters, colored pencils, sticky notes, that students can use just right at the station. So I give them 2, I think it was 2. No, I gave them a couple. Oh, I gave them 3. Okay, good. So the first one is for a banana slicer. So they're the same product review. You can just split them in half, so it wastes less paper. And students can just write all over and in the margins. So the first one is for a banana slicer. The second one is Where is Baby's Belly Button, which is a funny book review. And then the other one is a Bic for her ballpoint pen. So these are just funny and they'll get kids to laugh, but they'll also be annotating and close reading. And there are 3. So it's not that students need to do all 3, because some students it'll take longer than others to do the close reading, but at least they'll have 3 different options to choose from. And then if they finish early, they can work on another one. Station number 3 is students are going to be looking at an example of close reading. So I've provided them with a poem that I've started to close read, and it shows them, okay, so this is a 2-column note, so I have my text here are where my annotations are, and it shows them how to start. And then what you're asking students to do here is you're gonna ask them to write down any questions they have on how to close read. Well, how did you come up with this particular annotation? Or why didn't you annotate this? And then the other part of this activity is what can they add to the annotations and the close reading of this particular poem? The nice thing is it's, the text is, it's at I believe a 7th grade level, which is great because that means that most students should be able to access the language. So it shouldn't be a hindrance to any of your students, especially if you have heterogeneous groupings in your class. So they should be able to access the text, and they can annotate anything that they want. The cool thing is about close reading is everybody picks up on something different. So it's an example, but they're going to continue on with the example. And then station 4 is they're provided with an email. And what they need to do is first they're going to annotate it. So they're going to highlight and find the main point of the email. And then they're going to, it's a horrible email. And then they're going to rewrite the email in the space provided. And they're going to make the email more clear. And they need to make sure that they're using appropriate grammar and spelling. So not only is it kind of like trying to like decipher the author's purpose, but they're also using their close reading skills, but they're also using their editing skills. So it's kind of a bunch of stuff mixed into one. And each station is like 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the length of your class. And then that is provided for them. And also the directions is listed at top. So the email itself is garbage. So students should have a good laugh at the email, and then they should easily be able to rewrite it. So that's day 2. So day 3, they will be using heavily the PowerPoint that's included for them. So the first part is you're going to be talking about like what is close reading as a group? How do you use close reading skills in your daily life? Why are close reading skills important? And really facilitating that conversation among students. And then what you're going to do is, so they're going to, they have this again. I would give them a blank sheet if I were you. This comes from yesterday's activity. So they already started brainstorming, so they'll be contributing to the conversation, but now you can add to from the conversation, they can add to their sheet, or if you want to give them a new one, that's totally up to you. And then the next part is you're going to review what I consider the 3 phases of close reading. You have your first reading, your second reading, and your third reading. And basically emphasizing why you would try and read something 3 times, especially if you're really doing an authentic close reading. So this is a handout for students to give them why they should include this. And then the next part is what you're going to do is you're going to go back to that example of a close reading from yesterday. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask questions of students and ask them, what kind of questions do you have about close reading? What kind of observations can you make? Identifying the purpose of the text, and really work through with them how to conduct a close reading using this kind of a setup. Asking students what they notice, and really making it an open forum and really allowing students to ask their questions and really give them an honest answer. And then the last part of day 3 is you're going to share with them the different strategies that they can use when they're close reading. So what I did is part of this unit, I'm a big fan of graphic organizers, especially for like 7th, 8th, 9th graders. So I have close reading graphic organizers. And basically what the purpose of this is you want to share them with students and go over the different kind of organizers that you have available, as well as like showing students how to set up their own graphic organizers in case they don't have access to this. And what you want to do is you want to go through and explain to them how to use it. So we have a whole bunch of different ones. So we have this one. So basically what you're focusing on is like unfamiliar vocabulary. They want to summarize the text, questions that they might have, connections they can make, and then additional notes that they have. And that's basically like how it's set up. So we have this one, and then we also, it's the same setup, except this time what you could do is you could laminate this and give it to students and they can use it in all of their different classrooms. And what it does is you can use sticky notes with this. And then on each box, it gives them a refresher on what they should be doing. So on the sticky note, write a short summary of the text you read. You should focus on the purpose of reading and the important details. Think of what does the author want me to understand or want me to know? That sort of thing. So these are specific directions for students. This is a great piece of scaffolding. Then we have the 2-column notes, which you can give to students if they prefer this style. They can glue in their text here and then create annotations it's totally however they want to use it. And these are all just different styles. So here they have a summary of the text, and so here's a quote, here's my annotation, quote, annotation. Here we have this style. It's the same kind of setup. Here's unfamiliar vocab, connections, questions, additional notes. Here, again, just a different style, quote, annotation. Quotes and annotations. Here we have connections, questions. These include bullet points. These are all just different graphic organizers. Whatever is appealing to the student. I like to keep these in a bin in the back of my room and in like a hanging file folder, and allow students to choose whatever they want to use. So these are great options to have. And the cool thing is that students can use these in any of their classes. It doesn't really matter what class they're in. They work for everything. Here we have another one that you can use specifically for sticky notes. It just gives them kind of like an overview. It's just a different setup. Same here, same thing. Here, this is the one where you like teach students how to chunk out an article. So it can be like different paragraphs, or it can be chunks of paragraphs or chunks of lines, whatever it may be. And this helps students break down the text so it's a little bit more consumable for them. And those are the different graphic organizers that you want to go over with students. So basically what I like to do is I like to give a pile to each table or each group of students and just kind of have them go through it and see what they like. And that would be the end of lesson 3. And then the final lesson is this is day 4. So you're going to answer any questions the student might have about close reading skills or strategies, anything that they're confused about. And then what you're going to do is you're going to give them, I suggest you give them a variety of readings and let them conduct a close reading using a mix of any of the strategies. So any of the graphic organizers, using sticky notes, using highlighters, colored pencils, markers, whatever works for them. And then they should also be able to use any of the notes that they've taken during this session and use it during this. And I have linked a couple of nonfiction articles that would be cool for students. So Edgar Allan Poe invented the detective story, how emojis could help people with food allergies, and then anyone can make up their own weird or random holiday. And then a couple of fiction, you can use any short story. And then I did a couple of short story links here. So there's a close reading assignment sheet. So you just split it in half. You can cut it down the middle here and give students half of the page, and it gives them the directions. And then it includes the rubric and then an area for comments. And then we have the close reading questions that are associated with it. So they should be annotating as well as, answering these questions. So I have a set for the nonfiction, so the short articles that I provided. It really works with any short articles that you have, or the fiction, so any short story that you can use. And those are the two. And then what you want to do is you want to have students, you can have students type this out. You don't have to have them handwrite it. And then you can use the rubric to grade. It should be like a formative situation so students can really practice their skills. I highly emphasize that it shouldn't be worth a lot, because students should be in a space where they're able to practice without being penalized for not truly understanding everything. But that is the unit in a nutshell. It's a really, really fun 4-day activity. 4 or 5, depending on how long it takes you. But there are a lot of really great options, and I really hope that you enjoy it, and I would love to see what you end up doing with your students. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good day.